Activation not sensitive. Activation not sensitive. Activation not sensitive.
All right. It is very loud at my house, so if anybody's on, I apologize. I apologize for it being loud, but there are good reasons for that. There are very good reasons for that. All right, let's see. Still a little new to the streaming stuff, so I definitely apologize for my lack of experience and anything that I mess up on. Just want to be able to see the chat here. Okay. All right, I think I can see the chat room now, just in case. But, so, I live in mid-Ohio. I'm in Mansfield, Ohio. And the problem is we had a huge storm last night. Blew 1,000 trees in 1,000 streets, all the ones I wanted to drive on. And because of that, power lines are out, internet's been out. It's been crazy. So a house decided to fall on my daughter and son-in-law's house. So they had to come over here and camp, which is fine because I just got a new grandbaby, and I'm excited for her to stay the night. So pretty cool. But because of that, there's babies, there's kids, there's all kinds of stuff going on in this room. So I will mute when I'm not talking, so it's not too loud for you guys. And yeah, we'll just make the best of it. I will not put on music because last time I think I blessed Rob with his first copyright strike on YouTube. So sorry about that. Like I said, I'm a little new. Should have bought the subscription to Spotify before I started streaming music on there, maybe. All right, so I'm just loosening up right now. I'm just trying to, get some basic shapes down, trying to just loosen up and, think about what we're going to draw. So I was hoping we could do an edge runner of some sort, obviously, right? We got to do Cyberpunk. We got to do an edge runner. But I have been lucky enough to be able to do artwork for a app, Cyberpunk Red companion app, and it's really, really cool. It's my favorite app on my phone, and I was able to do some character art for it. So I thought, hey, why not just squeeze one in, on the stream? So I think that's what I'm going to do. So what I would like to see is somebody give me an idea of what character class within Cyberpunk that we should make. You know, do we want to make a fixer? Do we want to make a tech? Do we want to make a solo? You can't ever go wrong with a solo. So I was hoping somebody could give me an idea. But for now, I'm just sketching and loosening it up, like I said. Kind of art I like is mostly, I like a lot of manga, but I feel like it has its limitations. I'm also a huge fan of Western comic book art like Humberto Ramos, and I love Peter Chung and Greg Capullo, Gregory Titus. If you haven't seen Gregory Titus, his art is phenomenal. He's the most underrated artist in the world, in my opinion. So look him up on Instagram. He is phenomenal, hyper detailed. He used to draw way more cartoony than he does now, but his new style is amazing. So. All right. Okay, we can fit this to screen here. Where's that at? Nope. All right. Looks better now. Okay, cool. Thank you, Choom. All right, so I'm not exactly sure which one we should do. I'm thinking maybe Night City Cop might be kind of cool, because I don't have a whole lot of lawmen in the app right now. Here are a few of the characters that we have in there right now. I got this hyper athletic looking guy. I figured he could fill any role really, but he'd make a great solo. I have I got, obviously this is a tech. I got obviously a fixer. I tried to make some that were super evident, and some where you look at them and you're like, well, this could be a solo, or this could be a tech or anything, and just fill in the gap, whatever you want. So try to give people options. All right, so I wish I could art. What's up, Capricious? Dude, Capricious, what are we doing here, man? Are we doing a fixer, or are we doing a solo, a lawman? Should I do a reporter? I don't know. I haven't done any reporters. Press people. What are they called? Alright, well, we'll just start with picking a male or female here. So. Media. Yeah, media. That's it. Writing notes about to get jumped. Alright, I don't know how much room I'll have for a background. I'll do one character pick, though. That way I can focus on trying to get as much in there as I can. I could definitely make him look paranoid. So I'm imagining kind of like a Weasley nervous media. Yeah, we do need more media art. I don't understand. with the right storytelling, like you could make a media so interesting, and they write themselves, right? Because they give so many options for story ideas, of what you could do. I mean, instead of trying to find a hook, it's so easy to find a hook for a media. They're investigating a story, right? Or they get sucked into, they're investigating the story and it ended up being the wrong story. And they get sucked into some shenanigans. Super easy. And there's been some cool, there's been some really cool media type characters in pop culture, right? I mean, like, could you imagine like Columbo with a cybernetic arm and rippers? Just one more question for you, ma'am. And then he just pops his claws. Alright, this guy looks angry. Humphrey Bogart, obviously, would be a great media. What are some other characters we could do for media? Let's make this guy nervous. Just throwing the big eyes. Big eyes. Matlock. Matlock might be a good one. He was a lawyer, but I mean, he could be a media on the side. Mega Man Matlock with some cybernetic eyeballs. So I'm gonna switch to like gray because it helps me feel like it's more like a pencil, because pencils aren't black. So it'll help me loosen up a little bit. Like, one of the main things when you're drawing is to be loose and have fun. If you're not loose, and if you're not having fun, it will show. Like, it will actually stiffen up your artwork and make it look like try hard and bad. You want it to be fluid. You have to be real relaxed, and that's really hard for me when I'm on a stream and I'm not used to streaming. But we'll do our best here. It's almost like Dali, the artist. Let's see. Yeah, you got to be holding some sort of notepad here. You don't want to get sucked into the details too soon. You got to back out and take a look at what you're doing.
Yeah, but in the middle. Hold on.
I guess not everybody has to have cyberware too, right? Dolly into a meeting. Yeah, let's give him the... Dolly had the curly mustache, right? Maybe all his reports are like... all jacked up because they're all drug-induced paranoia. I had this idea for a kind of media-centric story that I was going to do with my guys, my kids that I play with. I was going to do a story where there was like a gang that called like the Revenant or something like that. That would be really almost cultish, and that there, are these tales of this this gang, like, that has like almost like a prodigy type character that they look to for like future predictions and things like that, to see what they're gonna do, and that this character basically would be like this real big dude. Like, I'm picturing that big dude from Mad Max, giant guy that had the little guy riding on his back. And so they always go to this guy for, to decide what's next, right? In this almost religious, culty way. And they put this VR helmet on him, and then, as he jacks in to the net, he starts seeing, like, whatever, he writes it down or something, the dude interprets it, and they know, like, whether to attack this or that gang or whatever they're going to do. And then the edgerunners would eventually like the whole goal would be like, okay, you know, this news media outlet, they want to know, they want the story behind that, like what is up with this super secret culty group, and you know, what are they getting out of this weird spiritual ritual that seems to have all the answers for this gang. And so the team would go in, you know, and start investigating and find out, like, say they get the VR helmet somehow, they put it on and they realize it's like Looney Tunes cartoons. And, you know, then they go to like release or talk to, maybe the big guy comes in, you know, and they're getting ready for this big old fight. And it turns out the dude, like, you know, is kind of, you know, just really simple. Kind of like that dude from Mad Max, you know, who's just had Down syndrome or whatever, you know, maybe he's got some sort of mental handicap or something like that. And then the mission becomes about getting that guy out of there. Like maybe he's just used as a prop for whatever the cult leader, the gang leader, you know, is using him as to hide behind, you know, something like that. I thought that'd be kind of a cool story. I hadn't really fleshed it out, but thought that might be kind of cool. All right, let's see. Oh, thank you, Molly. I really appreciate that. Master Blaster. That was his name. It was on the tip of my tongue. Master Blaster. Hyper paranoid, covered in bizarre scribbles. Yeah. Yeah, I almost want him to be more emaciated. Is that how you say that? Emaciated. That's the word. Like let's thin him out. He's got a little bit of a Capcom character torso here. We need more. I need to give myself more room. So I love Procreate. You can just select uniform and you can just shrink her down. Now you got more room to work. I'm still deciding what's going on with this guy's head. I don't know. What Dali have? He just have like a little curly thing here, like a little toupee looking top. Or I probably should give this guy like a press hat, right? Like he needs a press badge for sure. Alright, I'm gonna zoom way out here and got to kind of put some movement here in the shirt and stuff, because this guy's got to be kind of like chaotic. He's like, oops, he's like a force of nature. He's just this chaotic, paranoid media guy. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Let's make his shirt open and let's have like a wife beater underneath there. So he looks like he's just a mess. He's not put together real well. Tiny human grabbing it. Well, good, then you won't mind the tiny human that's going to be shouting at you guys in the background. A newsy cap and a press badge. All right. Newsy cap. Is that like the little bowler type hat? She's all right. She's fine. She's like, shh, Grandpa's trying to stream. That's something I never thought I'd hear. It'd be like that. Or would it be like the traditional? Yeah, something like this. Let's do. Dun, dun, dun. And right. It's more like that, ain't it, Caprice? That right? Oh yeah. Okay. That's the ones like this, right? I have caps like that, so I should know that. All right. Let's make this guy a mess here. So let's see, super skinny. I actually know a guy at work that looks like this. Like he always looks like he's way too caffeinated, and he doesn't eat. Like the dude literally just drinks like 6 monsters a day. I think that's his diet. So I want this to be a wife beater. Let's see, maybe big eccentric belt buckle. I'm gonna move this. Now we'll have to draw from scratch. We just call them paperboy hats. I do own it, and I don't know. I always call it the what do I call them? I always describe it. I'm like the newspaper boy hat. You know, the hat that the newspaper boy always wears. Is usually what I say. I have like 4 of them because I'm bald, so hats are the only hairstyle that I get, and so I have multiple hats. Many. Paperboy hat. I actually looked up the name multiple times and it will not stick in my brain. My brain's like, no, you're not going to remember that. Let's see. I'm going to have somebody Google it for me right now, because this is going to drive me crazy until I know. Oh, my shortcuts ain't working. All right.
There's something weird.
Hey, Stuart. What's the newspaper boy hat? You know that hat I'm talking about? You don't? It looks like the cap that you always see the newspaper boy holding back in the olden days. No. Yeah, young kids don't know nothing. They don't know nothing these days, I tell you. All right. So, is the Netflix special out yet? The Netflix Cyberpunk cartoon out? I seen the trailer and I sent it to 15 people, but I wasn't sure if it was out yet. That looks absolutely sick. I cannot wait to see that. It looks very anime or anime influenced, hyper violent. I love the genre, man. I tell you what, there's no better genre. Dark, gritty settings, with the noir vibe and the potential for the future empowerment of cybernetics is just, I can't get enough. You think about it, cybernetics are the closest thing we will ever have to being superheroes. It's the most possible route we have to being something exceptional beyond human capabilities, or genetic. If a lot of genetic research could turn into, something like that. But I think cybernetics are going to be the way, to unlock our future potential, man. And think about this too, there's going to be a day when being an amputee is going to be more advantageous than being somebody with meat limbs. And that is super exciting and empowering to think that like a potential handicap could be an advantage. Like there will be people that are so, you know, those people that are super freakishly obsessed with whatever their sport is, like marathon runners and stuff. And they'll be like, you know what? These legs, they're not as good as that guy's prosthetics. And they'll break out a hacksaw and they will do the work so that they can have the advantage. It will happen. Alright, I'm kind of liking this guy. Alright. Newsboy cap. Oh, there you go. It's called a newsboy cap. That's I was pretty spot on. I thought there was like another official. There might be another official name for it, but there you go. Everybody knows what you're talking about. The newsboy caps. Thank you, Stuart. Okay. Let's see. What do we want to do right here with this guy's hand? Oh, yeah, for sure. Caffeine, right? Let's give him some caffeine. His eccentric best 100% melted clock. Yes, I love that. Grandpa hats. Yeah, well, that's fits me. That's perfect. I'm a grandpa now. Proud. Call me Paps. Yeah, the melted clock. Oh, it should actually be the shape of the belt buckle. Yeah, let's see. So I just have it like flapped over. It looks like a tongue. Nobody panic. There we go. There we go. Excuse me, my voice is a little bit rough today. Not sure why. Yeah, man. Good idea. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. This is called drawing through. So basically, say you're drawing something and there's something in the foreground covering what you want to draw, whether that be the other side of somebody's body. You can't see their right arm because it's a little bit behind their body or whatever. That they call it drawing through. You basically just you ignore the foreground object in lieu of having a better perspective on your background object. So I could sit here and try to line up my lines perfectly and draw on the other side of his fingers and figure out the perspective of a tube, which is going to be a can, or I can just ignore that, draw through it. I can still see my underdrawing. I can still work with it. And when I ink it, you won't see that anyways. So you just draw through. All right. Yeah, so we need some frantic energy in this. You know, speaking of like amputees or people with disabilities, there was a story I heard. This is in sports, I guess. This kid, right? It's a true story. I'm not making this up. This kid didn't have any arms, okay? None of them. None of the arms that this kid had. And he was really, really good at swimming. Like I guess the breaststroke looking swim. I'm not a big swim guy. And he was awesome at it. He was super fast. He was like, he's aerodynamic. And kid is like, he's made for it, I'm not trying to be insensitive here. Don't take it the wrong way. This kid blew me away. I thought he was really cool, that he found a way to turn his disability into this advantage. And he was winning, right? And he's winning all these medals. He's doing awesome at his sport, you know. I mean, just blowing everybody else out of the water. And the craziest thing about that story is that there were parents that complained that the kid had an unfair advantage. He had an unfair advantage. I mean, other people's kids have an unfair advantage on everything else. Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous to me to think that anybody would ever complain that this kid was freaking good at this one sport. What is wrong with you people? The kid can't tie his shoes by himself. Why do you care if he is the gold medalist at the breaststroke? Let him have that. Your kid's going to be second place. It's fine. People are so selfish and ridiculous. I could not believe when I heard that. Like, who complains about that? Okay, I'm going to start throwing some ink on this, and we'll see where it goes. Basically, I'm just creating another layer above that one. Yeah, those parents, I know. Yeah, absolutely, Caprice. Like, I don't know what's wrong with people. Oh, gosh, could you possibly... You got this perfectly healthy kid, and you're upset that this kid's winning gold medals because he's streamlined. Like, take your kid to the... Dude, there was this mountain climber, too, that I heard about, who actually had lost his legs in an accident, and he was he was a great mountain climber. He was great at it. He loved it, whatever. This dude loses his legs, and so he gets some prosthetics. And he's like, wow, prosthetics apparently suck. He's like, you don't think about it when you see people using them. He thinks you like, oh, wow, look at this guy. He's got it covered now. He's got prosthetics. He's fine. He's like, they're super, super uncomfortable. They're not made convenient at all for half the things you want to do. And so he's like, well, screw this then. I'm not stopping. I'm not just going to, give up just because I have this disability or whatever. And I'm not going to just settle for crappy prosthetic legs. So the dude went back to school and got like a master's degree in engineering, and started designing his own prosthetic legs that were so hugely popular amongst the amputee community that he's very, very wealthy now, and he has these really cool legs that he can add on that have like little wedges, so that when he gets to a crack in the rocks or something, he can like shove that wedge into the crack, and it helps him climb even better than he could before. And of course, he said people complain about that, but he's offered to give them a pair of the prosthetic legs that he designs, if they're willing to cut their legs off. And he said not one person has taken him up on the offer.
Did you do a sky cup in the dishwasher?
I don't know what that is, honey.
A sippy cup for Leah that has dogs on it.
I don't think so. I put a couple of sippy cups in there, but I don't know what they are.
Did one of them have like it was fancier? They're going to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, that guy was really super impressive, dude. Like, he was an artist as well as a designer, and so cool that he looked at opposition as an opportunity. That's exactly what we should do. That's exactly 100% how you should take on life. You should be looking at every opposition as an opportunity, as a chance. As a chance to move forward, to succeed, to go beyond the limitations that you've been given, to prove something. You don't even have to prove it to anyone else. You prove it to yourself. You start there, and then see where you go. I mean, look, I talk to the kids at the detention center here in Mansfield, Ohio. I go to the juvenile detention center, and I speak to the kids. I try to encourage them, and I love them. I love those kids. And I always tell them, man. I always tell them, you got two options. You can have an excuse. And excuses are great to a degree. Excuses are fantastic, man. Excuses mean that you don't have to take any accountability for anything. And you have a great get out of jail free card when it comes to whatever it is you're expected to do or be. You got this excuse, and you get that. But that's all you get. You get out of it, whatever it is, whether it's life, whether it's demands, whether it's relationships, whether it's a job, whether it's opportunities that you're passing by. You get that excuse, you don't have to worry about it. But you don't get any control. That's what you sacrifice. You don't get any say so. You know, if you're at your job, you know, and you want to sit back and say that your work's failing or you can't do this or that because your boss sucks, well, there you go. That's what you get. You get to say your boss sucks and it's not your fault. Or you could apply for the next position that comes up and you could take responsibility. Responsibility is the other option. You can have excuses or you can have responsibility. Responsibility sucks to some people, I guess, but it's the one option that gives you the most opportunity for control. It's the one option that actually will allow you to manifest the things that you need in your life or the change that others even need. It's the one thing that will actually bring you closer to true fulfillment and happiness. And an empty excuse doesn't have that. It doesn't have that power. So you got to decide, do I want to control? Do I want control over this situation? Do I want to be able to have an effect, move things forward in a positive direction for not only me, but people around me that could use a little bit of my influence in their life? You know, can I believe in myself enough to think that I have something to offer somebody out there that could possibly need a little encouragement or whatever it is that I might be able to bring to the table? Can I believe in myself enough to think that I have something to bring to the table for somebody who needs it? And am I willing to take that chance and say, you know what, I do. Okay, what comes next? Well, I got to take a responsibility. I got to accept that responsibility, because once I have that responsibility now I can start making some decisions. You know, or we can sit back and we can say, hey man, I got excuses. I got lots of reasons for being the way I am. I got lots of reasons for being in the condition I am, the life I'm living. And that's it. That's what you get. It's not your fault. Nobody's going to say it's your fault. You can just wear that excuse badge all the way to your grave. Nobody's going to blame you. But you get no say-so, you know. I'd rather have the say-so, man. I'd rather have the option, even if it comes with the extended weight of accountability. Wow. Since 7th grade, that's crazy. I have a I've got the same joints, dude. I have a friend of mine that was my best friend since the 6th grade, and we are still best friends, and he works where I work. All our other friends just didn't really want to grow up, and they wanted to just kind of waste away their lives and kind of live in ways that, you know, good for them doing their own thing. But he was the one that got his stuff together, and we both kind of just gravitated wherever the other one went. Wherever I would work, he would end up working, and works where I work now. And it's nice having a friend for that long, so I definitely feel the love, man. That's cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Sorry if I prattled on a little bit, but yeah, my buddy Chris Miller, man, he's my best friend. He's like a mix between Robin Williams and Jim Carrey if they were on some serious drugs. He's a wild man. And whenever we were in our group of friends, I always thought it was funny because if we were in a group of friends, like everybody would, and if Chris wasn't there, everybody had a Chris story, and they just started sharing Chris stories, all these wild things that this guy would get us into. And yeah, you could get in trouble hanging out with Chris. You could definitely find yourself into some bad situations or interesting maybe, but dude, people like that are that unique bring something to this life that is so invaluable and so precious that we should just embrace them. People that are just a little bit off, that have a little bit of a wild side, that are a little bit more unexpected and spontaneous, and maybe they suck at thinking about consequences, but that's what you're there for. You kind of help meter them out, kind of help balance the scales. But thank God for us sticking the muds like me. We got people like Chris in our lives to go, hey dude, relax, let's have some fun, let's do something stupid. Somebody better than me. Artist mom with guns. Oh, I want to see the art. Dude, you flew to Asia to be a teacher, though. Like that's not like the norm, That's pretty together. There's not a lot of people that can do that. That's wild, dude. That is absolutely such a unique job. Like, not a lot of people can say they do that or live overseas or whatever. Like it's normal to you, but for us that are like, going and clocking in at a stinky, oily factory, we're like, man, that sounds pretty cool. Alright, so I've been zoomed in for a minute. I'm probably getting lost in what I'm doing, so I'm going to kind of back out, kind of check everything. Alright, so this has a really animated feel, and that's okay. I gravitate more towards animation anyways, so I'm just going to keep flowing with it. I'm going to stick with like the heavy blacks. This is my custom pin. I call it the angle pin, and it is absolutely my favorite. And it just playing with the tools, I finally I like the technical pin that came with Procreate right here. This technical pin, but it didn't have enough sharp edges on it, so I changed the shape to be a triangle, sitting on its side, and kept every other setting on it. And by doing that, I can get some really cool thin to thick lines with some sharp line variations and stuff. I like blocky shapes, I guess, so it works for me. I like hyper detail and stuff too. I think that kind of stuff's cool. It's just not really my thing. I really get into like I really get into like shapes, man. Like a real dynamic, crunchy shape, I guess I would call it. Like if you look at the art style of like Joe Madureira or like Humberto Ramos or even like Capcom art, like you look at the muscles and stuff, they fit together almost like puzzle pieces. They're just these nice, like satisfying shapes that all kind of like link together and fit firmly with one another. It gives a real solid feel, but also, I don't know, some guys are really good at doing that and still keeping a fluidity to their art, and I guess that's what I've always been grasping for. It's like, how can I keep my stuff looking fluid but also chunky and with dynamic shapes? Because there's just certain things that can just lock my eyes on, and I can't stop looking at them. Certain artists, I like artists like what's his name, Jung, the guy who like draws with a Bic pen or a brush pen. He uses a brush pen and just like straight up draws everything out of memory. That dude is absolutely insane. So many artists want to be that guy, and I love that kind of art too, man. But I don't know. I've always kind of been influenced by graffiti and stuff too. So I think I've always been trying to find like a mix between graffiti, manga, and Western Disney cartoons. I think that's always been my goal, which is like I don't know if it's possible because they're all so different. I do find that if I just lean into a more animated, cartoony style, I usually have more fun, and I usually end up liking what I'm doing more. So I probably should just stick with that. But I can't help but attempting more manga type stuff too. Like I don't even know what you would consider. I guess it's all pretty subjective, anyways. But I have some stuff that's kind of leans more towards the manga style. I was looking for One Piece in particular. Like, this is based off of a game coming out, a fighting game coming out called Blazing Strike. I put it in one of their fan art forums because I think the game looks awesome, and it's a very small team of developers that are just fans of like Street Fighter and stuff like that. So I like that kind of stuff, you know, and I like really cartoony Disney style stuff. Yeah, so I guess you don't have to settle on one thing. You can just kind of enjoy it all. I think it's part of that obsessive personality type that wants to be able to say, oh, this is specifically my style. I would like it if somebody could look at my stuff and immediately be like, oh, that's a Derek Barrows piece, you know, that's his stuff. And not because it looks like crap. Like, look at the proportions on that guy. That's definitely a Derek piece right there. I mean, that is the most unrealistic head size I've ever seen on somebody. Definitely Derek. Or, hey, there's 3 index fingers on that person's big toe area. I can only Photoshop. Yeah, for sure, man. Dolly's birth name. Oh, thank you for the line work's not my strength. I definitely could do better. I think a lot of people like more thinner, detailed line work. But I have a really heavy hand. I kind of hold my pen with a gorilla grip anyways, so I had to make a pen that was kind of a little more favorable to my stiff grip. I usually press too hard with pencils, and so I've always just been into big solid lines because it's kind of what I lend to anyway. So but yeah, definitely seeing people's influences. Like, I love when an artist breaks down their influences, and then you can just kind of like look at those artists and be like, oh yeah, I see that. There was a cool challenge going on Instagram for a while where people were listing like their top 10 influences, and they would put samples of their artwork up, and I thought that was super cool. Alright, let's do another clock here. Idea for the badge, Dominic, for the name. Oh, okay. Yeah, we could do that. Let's do that now so I don't forget. Let's go to add text. Go. Oops. How do you spell that? Dominic. Well, come on, ease, work with me. Dominic. Y. There we go. We should probably put press on there somewhere too, huh? Cool. Okay. Oops. Yeah, so now I'm thinking more about this guy. Like, I'm wanting to actually play him as a character in Cyberpunk now. Like I'm trying to think what this guy would sound like. I can't do a French accent, or I would just be like, oui, I need more coffee, but I can't do it. It'll just turn Russian. All good cyberpunk character voices are Russian. Anyways, everyone knows. So, make the edge of that sleeve fold over. You know, like, I don't know. I think folds and seeing things completely shaded in black adds a little bit of depth and dynamic effect to stuff. Kind of sucks your eyeball in a little bit. Gives it a little more depth. Stop sucking my eyeball. I'm trying to look at this. Let's see, for like an art tip too. If we look at this right here, this kind of naturally does it, but you can pay attention to it more or less depending on what you're making, what you're drawing. This kind of has the Fibonacci shape to it, which if you studied art at all or anything, you know about the Fibonacci sequence, which is basically the most pleasing sequence to the human eye. I guess also they can compose music in the Fibonacci sequence. But it's kind of like a spiral that looks like an egg, or an egg. Jeez, he criminate does not look like an egg, you fool! It looks like a shell. So a Fibonacci spiral is like this. You know, I mean, that just looks like I'm trying to hypnotize you, but it kind of has that feel to it. So your picture, if you lay it out, it should have this kind of flow to it, because you always, it's kind of the same reason we read left to right. So it should go like, carry the eye over to the right, like this line here does. So I should have something down here to kind of pick you up and go in that way to begin with. So like I could bring the tail of his coat out here and maybe use that to kind of bring your eye up. And then it's going to go down here, and then this, and then all these little droplets are going to kind of bring you down this way. And then the sleeve goes down, and you see I took the corner of that little sleeve there, and I poked it in a little bit. And that's going to kind of like bring your eye back around, and or straight down to this right here, which should carry your eye back around. So basically like a spiral, if that makes sense. You kind of want it to go, say this is your picture. You want it to spiral in on itself and then start over. So you want it to kind of go up and then down, then in, like this. You kind of want to keep that spiral going. And what it does is it traps your eye on a picture longer, causes you to look at it longer, which makes you then enjoy it more. Whether you, I don't know why, you look at something longer, you appreciate it more, but I guess that's the case. Deep black shading. He's Spanish. Oh, that's so much easier. I could definitely do a Spanish accent. Oh wow, people were stealing your art, huh? Was it on Instagram? Oof, that sucks. I am 100% sure somebody's stealing my stuff out there on IG. I don't know why they would. I've never broke 1,000 followers, so I don't know. I don't know why they would, but I'm sorry to hear that. That really sucks that they did that to you. It's crazy when you see art theft too, or somebody just completely ripping off somebody else's. I randomly ran across a dude that was drawing the exact same type of picture that this guy I followed did. It was this like lion, and there was one with a bear, and they had crowns on their head, like a royal crown. And it was done so similar. And I screenshotted it, and I was going to send it to the guy, and my wife's like, why are you butting into people's stuff? Like, stay out of it. And she was kind of right. It's really none of my business. But man, as an artist, it just really frustrated me to see somebody just blatantly. It's one thing if you're influenced. Be influenced, you know? Or if you want to show homage to somebody or something. If you want to mimic somebody's style as an homage. But definitely throw the credit out there. Whoops. Definitely throw the credit out there. Tell, explain what you're doing here. or, you know, but just to blatantly rip somebody's stuff off is pathetic. Then there was one account that I seen, man. This dude, more followers elsewhere. Ah, okay. I see. Yeah, I use Insta all the time, but I'm not consistent enough. I think that's what cost me my followers. But there was this one dude that had all these posts, right? This guy had like, I mean, thousands and thousands of followers, right? And I'm looking through his stuff, and I'm like, dude, like half this stuff is obviously traced from a photograph. Which, if that's your thing, go for it. You know, I mean, I don't know. Should you even tell people it's traced? Does it even matter? I mean, but then his other stuff was a completely different style. Like, I could see multiple styles within it, like to where I was like, this is not the same artist doing the same pictures. Like, it was so obvious. And you know, there's nothing you can do. What are you gonna do? Bust them out? Like, tattletale? Like, sit there and claim that it's not the same artist? But I mean, you can just tell, you know, if you see an artist style and then you see something that's totally different subject matter, different art style, different line weight, different color schemes, different, you know, one is all airbrushed, the other one's all block shaded, you know, it's like, you know. So I drew through before on this, so now I'm just able to use those background lines to... My grandbaby's back there trying to talk to her mom. Super cute. Okay, so my lines are a little bit off on there, but I don't care. Yeah. Yeah, man. This is it's coming together okay. This guy looks sufficiently caffeinated and spazzed out. Let's get some more blacks in here, though. Let's see. He's almost too busy right there in the middle. There's almost too much going on. But that's alright, we're just doing this for fun. This isn't a commissioned piece, so let's just have fun with it. Alright. Just army. No, it's definitely not you. It's definitely not you. I'm sure some people I'm sure my stuff isn't super consistent either. Like, it's got to vary a lot, but I can't ever decide what I like. I'm always like trying to find that perfect style or that perfect look, and I think I have it. I'm like, oh man, you know, like, I'll tell you one that really influenced me. This is a really weird out there reference that nobody's probably watched, but it's called BNA. It was anime. It got pretty popular here. BNA is a brand new animal, and I watched that and I was like, it made me want to draw so bad. I was like, dude, that's what I'm missing. That's what I'm looking for. Just these nice blocked out shapes that were just so easy to look at, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start, you know, seeing where I can see first if I can kind of mimic it, and then I want to know if I can like incorporate it into my own style somehow, because that's really all artists do. They just steal everything. Just steal stuff you like. Not straight up steal people's artwork, but no matter what original idea you have, it's influenced. I'm sorry, it's influenced by something that you enjoyed or you liked, and it comes out even if it just does it subconsciously. And so I was like, hey, you know, can I incorporate a little bit of this look, you know, in there? I drew like that for a little while, and then I started falling back into, a different, more graffiti style. And then it was like, I find too, like if I look at an artist I like a lot too, like I'll end up drawing like them, and I'm like, now, I don't want to be a printer, copier. One thing I tried in college was cutting myself off from as much influences as I could, and like I just quit looking at art for a while, and I just only thing I would do to inspire myself. No, there was no movies, no cartoons, no art, no comics, and the only thing I would do to inspire myself was listen to music. I would just listen to music and then just randomly sketch in a sketchbook, and I had some pretty original stuff come out of that. Very odd and dark stuff. It was fun. It was a fun experiment. I suggest anybody do it. Just don't let anything influence you for a change, and just see what comes out. You might not keep everything, it might not be like, okay, this is how I'm going to draw forever and ever, but you might pick up a few things that you're like, oh, wait a minute, where'd that come from? Because, like I said, whether we like it or not, we are influenced. All right, so we're going to get rid of the undersketch and then take a look at it. So a lot of times that undersketch can hide. Yes, exactly. You find somebody you like, and immediately you're like, oh yeah, I want to. Oh, your stuff just automatically going to start looking a little bit like it, because it's that influence. It's like you want to draw what you like looking at. That's why sometimes when I draw something and it looks like one of my favorite artists, I enjoy it more than if it didn't. So without the bottom sketch on there, you'll start to see things look a little more flat. And that's because that bottom sketch, that sketchiness, it kind of like fleshes things out. Even if it's lines that aren't supposed to be there and you don't really want there, it adds some substance. So once you get rid of that undersketch, you want to back up again and take a look at it as a whole and look, where you can add some shadows and some blacks that you probably didn't notice before because your eyes were kind of tricked by the undersketch. So we'll add some more heavy blacks. Yeah, but I definitely suggest if you guys are looking for anybody to check out Gregory Titus. He is just an amazing, very underrated artist. He's done art on like the Star Wars Black Series toys, like all those. They have like the silver artwork on them. He's done those, and they're fantastic, man. They are just so cool. They're like very hyper realistic. So I definitely suggest checking him out. Scotty Young, obviously another great pick for real cartoony characters. Humberto Ramos is great. Francisco Herrera, he has a very he has a comic book, like Marvel comic book style, but it's also heavily influenced by Looney Tunes, which sounds kind of corny, but the way he does it's cool. Pretty sure he did the character designs for Megamind. Excellent. Mexican artist. He's phenomenal. Okay. Time is it? 7 o'clock. Just looking it over, seeing where I can add some more shading if I need to, or maybe I could add some. Maybe I can start doing some flat colors here. So I'm just doing a under shadow. It's like the under boob of shadows. You just find something that your thing is in front of, and you just add a little shadow underneath it. It gives it a little more 3D pop, like I did with these fingers. Nothing's going to be so completely flat that it doesn't have under boob shadow. So just put a little black under there, and it'll make it more three-dimensional. Alright. I think I'm going to take a quick bio, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and stay up a little later, and I will go ahead and add some color to this. So give me a quick 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and I will be right back. I'm going to go ahead and put the Cyberpunk intro on for now.
Citation uncensored. Citation uncensored.
Okay, I'm back. And now we cannot see my source. Ah, I know why. Make sure we're still mirroring. Make sure that's still going here. There we go. Alright. It's on loop. Yeah, I put it on. I thought I muted it. Did I mute it? I wanted to mute it so it wouldn't be playing constantly. I tried. If I did it wrong, let me know. If I didn't mute it right, I apologize. I wonder if I thought that Dolly was French just because he has a curly mustache. Do I just associate all curly mustaches with French people? You gotta admit he does kind of look French, though. Alright, let's add some color. So I usually start with a skin tone, somewhere here between red and yellow. Up here at the top, a lot of white in the skin tone. And I use a default brush that comes with Procreate called Syrup. Thank you very much, by the way, to Rob Mulligan and Cyberpunk Uncensored for giving me the opportunity to be on here. I super appreciate it. No video, Crozzwire. No video. Why not? Okay, let's look into it, shall we? How about that? Is that better? Super appreciate the opportunity to be on here with you guys. Rob and Cyberpunk Nation itself has been a huge blessing to me. Everybody on there, super cool community of people that will help you with anything you need, especially when it comes to like gaming advice, GMing advice. I mean, anything at all. I've never gotten a hateful or insensitive response, or nobody's ever talked down to me like I'm an idiot that I am sometimes. Very smooth brain, and I have had nothing but really super awesome interactions with everybody on that channel. So I would definitely highly recommend anybody who hasn't checked out their Discord, check it out if you have any interest in not just Cyberpunk the game, but anything that has to do with the genre. People are talking about it on there. Also, thank you, Capricious, for throwing my Instagram out there. Probably a good idea to plug that sort of thing. So, is there any cyberpunk type media that I need to check out that I might not have checked out, whether it be video games or movies? What was that? Tales from the Forlorn Dopes? Was that the ones where they had all of the... He's a little yellowy, by the way, my character here, but I kind of like it. That's why I'm kind of sticking with it. Make him kind of jaundicey. But anyways, I think that podcast, Tales from the Forlorn Dopes, had the all the Cyberpunk movie reviews, references, and discussions. That was so fascinating to listen to. These two experts talk about these different movies, some I hadn't seen. I found myself like furiously Googling as I was driving around. Yes, definitely kudos for being a safe spot, and like I said, really cool, friendly people. But that podcast was awesome. Yeah, they talked about everything, dude, and it was like constantly like I'm driving and trying to find a red light to Google because I hate when people are on their phones in their car, and I'm like I can't help it. I have to look up this movie and see what these guys are talking about, and I really agreed with a lot of stuff they said in there, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Enjoyed hearing people that also enjoy the genre talk about it, you know. The Cyberpunk game recently from Project Red was freaking awesome. I absolutely loved it. I 100% completed every side mission, every gig. I did every gig before I even tackled the story mission. I just did the first few that you had to, and then I just started knocking out all the areas of the map and doing all the random events. And once I had every gig finished and got every reward from those, then I went through and started doing the story mission. I was so overpowered. It was a lot of fun. They're coming out with another update soon. Yeah, Data Fortress 2020 and Cyber Smiley. Yeah, dude, they're awesome wealth of information from those guys. Definitely, if I play through that again, I will go with the movement upgrades right away for jumping around from building top to building top and stuff like that. Was really fun. Had a lot more fun getting around once I upgraded that stuff. I went all melee to start out with, and was just the character was an absolute beast. But some of the story missions were hilarious. It reminded me a lot of Fallout 4, a little, you know, in some regards. It was good times. So they're coming out with another update. I might give it another playthrough. There's so many good games out right now and just not enough time to play them. Like, I have no shortage of options when it comes to good games. I just have shortage of hours in the day. I'm getting ready to pick up that Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That looked awesome. As a role-playing game fan, a D&D fan, that looks like a phenomenal take on it. So it's I think it's on sale right now on Epic. Also, Epic had Borderlands 3 for free a couple weeks back, so I grabbed that. Haven't had time to check that out. Finally finished Fallout 4, modded that. Kept playing it because you could just continually mod it and do more stuff on it. You guys had time to game lately? Anybody gaming anything? I'm a real big fighting game fan too, man. I don't know if you guys are into fighting games, but I freaking love them because I love the 2D art in them. I love the animation, and always been a big martial arts fan. I took a little bit of kickboxing and jiu-jitsu when I was younger, and I've just always been into it. You know, it's always been kind of something I was fascinated by. So yeah, it's a good fit if you're a gamer and you're into martial arts, man. Fighting games. A lot of like Tekken 7. There's a lot of good 2D fighters out there, like Blaze Blue Central Fiction, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. Melty Blood. This definitely has to look like an energy drink, by the way. Also, another thing you'll see me doing, which I would love just to share this with anybody who does art, is don't sit there and color don't do this and color every inch of this. Why? Just trace the inside of your lines and then fill it. If you do the auto picker tool to try to like capture your lines, you have to have really solid lines that all connect to be able to do that effectively. And even then, a lot of times there's some feathering that you'll see in the fill. So that's why I tend not to do that. I think it's faster for me anyways, just to, instead of doing all that cleanup on it, just to trace the inside of where I need to, and then just drop tool, drop it in there. The great thing about all these shortcuts is it's really fun when you're actually drawing on real paper, and then you tap your paper with 2 fingers and squeeze it, and people look at you like, why are you tickling your drawing, sir? It's a very strange thing to do. So if I would separate layers like I should, I could easily select that orange and add some gradients. I can still do some color pick, or not color picking, but I can just use my selection tool to grab some of it if I want here, and then I can, let's see, airbrush. But that would have been super simple if it was on a separate layer. I could go to that layer, hit alpha lock, and then I'm only drawing on that layer. I'm not drawing anywhere else. Alpha lock is definitely boss battle. All right. Cyberpunk 2077 through 3 times. We played Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn looks awesome. My friend was just telling me about it, and I was like, I seen the trailer for it, and I'm like, yeah, man, mechs, bow and arrows. Dying Light 2. Oh yeah, dude, Dying Light. The first Dying Light was so much fun. Played through that, beat it, played with some friends. I got online and some dude was duping items and ended up leveling me up really high. And then I had fun for like 5 more minutes, and then I was like, okay, I ruined the game. Don't cheat. You're just cheating yourself. Elden Ring, I'm staying away from that because, you know, I was told to say no to crack. So I'm not touching that. But yeah, looks good. Look good for you guys. Cause I don't want what you're having. Looks beautiful though, and I secretly want it. Secretly want it bad. Looks awesome. Combat looks fantastic. Yeah, that event Horizon, that event Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, that looks so good. But like I said, you only got so much time for so much games. Okay, wife beater. Let's see if we can do something here. We'll go ahead and pick this different pattern. If I can remember where it's at. All right, I'm getting closer. Warmer. There's this one that looks like a bunch. I'm gonna have to make my own brush of this brush that's in the app, because it could be super handy. Wait a minute, where's it at? Kind of like this. So, multiple lines in a row, like this. To add some line texture for the wife beater. But I think I could make something better than this eventually. So we'll just do some of this on both sides, and then where the light's hitting it, it'll kind of like, we'll say it's kind of fading out that pattern, which is really just my excuse for not carefully going over the entire thing with that pattern. But if you look here, see, it added the little ribbed lines, like, you know, a wife beater has those little ribbed lines in it. Just trying to get that, you know, authentic beer stained wife beater look. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's paint this clock too so it sticks out a little bit more. Yellow. Alright, there we go. PS4 barely handled CP2077. Pinstripe. Oh wow, was it really pinstripes, huh? For the jacket. Okay. Alright. Hey, Dark Souls, dude. I can't handle it, dude. I don't have the patience, man. I know deep in my dark little heart that I would be so angry playing that game, and you know, blood pressure's high enough. I don't need that stress in my life. It's cool. I get it. I get the challenge. It's fun, you know. But when I get off work, I don't need more stress. I just want to play something and have fun. I get it though. It is fun when you beat a very difficult challenge. And that's why I play fighting games sometimes, because it's a challenge, man. It's really hard to do, you know, to get good at them. But I get it. I just don't want it. It does remind me of the old school games we used to play, man. I don't know if you remember when there wasn't any save files. There was just you and the game on pause while you went and ate dinner and hurried back. And if you died, you started over. Or there were quarters, lots of quarters, tokens being used. Yeah, I like fun, frantic games that I can just spawn right in after dying. Like, oh, I sucked that moment, I can jump back in and have another moment. Like Overwatch, games like that, where you can just jump right back in. I like competitive games because I like to feel bad about myself. Pinstripe shirt, alright. That's a Dark Souls nut. Yeah. She was a Dark Souls nut. Well, I understand. You get your fill of it. My wife is a Fortnite freak, so don't hold that against her. She plays with my daughter and son-in-law, and I just look over and see first plays constantly. I'm just like, how can you play this game? I try to play it with them. I just can't do it. Like, what happened to the days when we played Street Fighter, Third Strike together, and Halo, and games that would fall more under the category of like good. But no judgment. Fortnite's your thing. At least she's still playing games. She's staying young. Because for a while, she was like, I'm not playing games. I'm a grown-up. I'm just too old for this. Too old to be playing these silly little video games. I'm a grown-up. And then I'd look over and she'd be playing Candy Crush on her phone for hours. It's like, okay. Oh, it's all down to personal interpretation, huh? Subjective opinion of a game doesn't appear to be that phone in your hand. Yeah, but we've had a lot of fun. We used to play a lot of games together. Every now and then I'll get her to play Tekken or something. My whole house is a gaming household, man. My kids game. They all game. Like, guys, around my age at work, they'll be like, all those kids do is they want to play video games. And I'm like, yeah, because it's great. It's way more fun than real life. Of course, that's what they want to do. It's way less stressful and way more rewarding temporarily. Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's rotting their brain. I'm like, oh, actually, it's increasing their eye-hand coordination as well as helping them with their problem-solving skills in the future. And even in some games, maybe some coping mechanisms for when they deal with loss. And then they just look at me angrily and walk away and talk about beer and football. Never too old for video games. Amen. Yeah, I know the fork knife is rough, but to each their own. Hey, they got some cool skins. I'll give them that. I will give them the skin game is on point. Oh, and I've been playing Destiny too, so I don't have no room to talk. That's just another money-sucking, grubby, hungry, greedy game company. Bungie. But Destiny 2 is great for that futuristic feel, man. God, I love the guns. I love the way the characters look. End game is basically just dress up. You're just playing paper dolls with a video game character, let's admit it. But man, you gotta pay for everything. Every expansion, every dungeon keys and all kinds of stuff. They have such shady business practices. You hear that, Bungie? Yeah, they are just too greedy. But it's a fun game. Sucks they're like the way they are. I'm just zooming through. Basically what we're doing right here is we're just laying down flats. So flats, pretty self-explanatory, but it's basically just a flat color. That's kind of like a placeholder. I always try to choose flats at least close to the color I'm going to use, because why waste time, just you're already going to use that color anyways. So instead of coloring it and then coloring it over, I just use the color I want to begin with. But you can easily go in there and use the hue and saturation tool and then just scale up and down the colors and change it to whatever you want it to be. Deep down in your little dirty heart, if you want it to be a different color, you can easily move that slider and make it whatever you want. But yeah, this is just how I do it. It's just fast and dirty way, man. Get these flats down, and then once the flats are down, you can start shading, and shading and highlights is the fun part. That is the fun part. Now, see, I went around that badge. Like, why did I take time to do that? That's because now when I color the badge in a layer underneath, it's just going to be super simple. So hardest part is just like picking a color here, and then boom, it's colored. And then you know, you can see right there I messed up easily enough to fix. So I swear, if I would have had an iPad like this and the ability to just draw nonstop with any colors, I probably never would have done anything else as a kid. Alright. I just got to color his memo pad. Another thing, since I got this layer that's hiding underneath the flats, the base coat, I do got to color his eyes, because you'll see what happens is, like, say you turn off the background. It's not like traditional art where you can utilize the page as your white. You can, I guess, to some degree, but if you're using it for the internet or using it for something somebody wants to publish and they want to move that image around on something else, you have to fill those in, you know. So I'm just picking, and I never pick a solid white for eyes, by the way, because eyes just aren't solid white. And one thing it took me forever to realize too with eyes is that they have shadows on them. They're not just a big white orb. So you can actually, you know, grab something for some shading and put a little bit of shading around them. I'm not doing very good right here because I'm rushing. Oops. Should probably use something different. Come on. That syrup has a really hard edge. I don't know if you've seen the difference there. I can show it again real quick just to explain it. Okay, so I went back to my angle brush, right? And I did the line. And you can see right here all the variation of tones. The tonality change is almost like feathering. But when I was on the syrup brush and I did the line, you see pixels rather than feathering. Okay, so here's the thing with that. When I'm filling an area, I use that syrup brush and fill. It's not going to work because I'm already on a colored spot. Let me try that again. I'll do it over here. So I fill this, right? It feels completely solid because it doesn't have that feathering. It just has those jagged edged pixels. Now if I use an angle, let's say I go to fill it, I got to have that fill maxed out, because now if you look, you can see, you see right there, it catches that feathering and leaves the color underneath of it. And it's just because the edge is blending, you know. And it's great for outlines and things like that. But for filling, you know, doing your flats and things like that, not so good. Okay. See, like I'm even having trouble just covering this up with that. But by using the syrup to do that defined shadow line, it was making a really hard edge, and it looked kind of unnatural and weird compared to the lines that are comprising his outlines. Alright, so that's good enough. So yeah, just add a little bit of shading here. On the eyes. And I can come back to that later. A lot of times I would use blue too. Blue is your best color. Blue and purple for shading. Because it's just a cool color. It's a cool color. Pushes everything to the back. I mean, yeah, pushes everything to the back. Makes a good shadow. And you can lower the transparency of whatever layer or whatever has your blue on it. And it kind of just blends in nicely with the colors underneath to make a nice shadow. If I'm missing any chat, I apologize. I kind of was getting sucked in. Oh, yeah, Heart Brother Pay to Win. Yeah, hate that model design. Me too. Dithering. That's the word. Thank you. Yeah, I call it feathering, but yeah, it's dithering. And it is like that on the sketch pencil and a lot of the other tools. You got to watch. I actually was watching an artist on Instagram using syrup, and I was like, I wonder why he uses that instead of what I use. And then I realized, oh yeah, it actually fills correctly. But yeah, I mean, I do think that, I don't know, Destiny's kind of balanced in PvP. I think that they kind of try to balance it out a little bit there. But honestly, I mean, if you want a lot the game has to offer, you have to pay. You have to pay for those freaking passes and all that stuff. It's a bit much. They're just so greedy, man. And until consumers start voting with their dollars, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get greedy, money-hungry corporations that have crazy, unfair business practices. But you know, the good news is we'll get our dystopian future before we know it. You know, and then we'll all be drinking choom in the street together. You know, I mean, like, yeah, I knew it was coming. I'm just trying to fill in some of these pages here. Alright. Oops. Pretty much got my flats down. And again, I'm trying to hurry a little bit, but so what are we? 7:45, almost 2 hours in. And the image is actually almost complete. I don't know how fast I work compared to other artists. I don't spend a lot of time watching other artists draw. I don't know how much time it takes them. I try to be fast. I like being quick and quickly getting an idea down. Sometimes that probably costs me some detail. And I probably should. My brother always told me I should slow down and take my time. And he's probably right. I probably should. But I'm just an impatient little badger. I want my image down. I want to see what's in my brain. I want to show people what's in my brain right now. So I tend to hurry. But I don't have any shading done on this. So I'm probably going to come back to this next time. Because it is getting kind of late for me. I will demonstrate real quick the stylish shading that I'm doing lately that I really like. So I'm just going to merge both of these color pieces together. And all that layer is just all the colors, all the flats. So what I'm doing for shadows and lighting lately is I select the entire flat color, right? I selected everything around it rather. Okay. And then I invert it. And the reason I don't do it the other way around is because it's easier to select all the white than it is each individual color. And also by selecting the outer portion, you grab more of the image you're going to be editing. Where if you grab it from the inside, you can miss the outer edges. So yeah, thank you, Caprice. I appreciate that. So then I just add a layer over top of that. Okay, now I have all of this selected. Now a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go in here with a paintbrush. It comes with a flat brush and a round brush. You can easily use those. I just moved them over here to my... Okay. And then what we can do is we can just like select a cool color. We'll just select blue. Lower the opacity here a little bit. And this just makes things super simple. You can go in here. And this flat brush you can do like real light-handed, and then as you get thicker, harder, press a little harder, you get your darker lines, and then you can create cool like gradients and stuff if you get good at it, which I'm not yet, but I'm practicing with it. It's just a really easy way to shade. and lay down shadows quickly if you'd like, if you want to do it that way. You can go in and select each color and darken it if you want, you know, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Some people probably prefer it. With this, I do got to adjust this brush size a lot and stuff like that. And that can be a little bit annoying, or if I press too hard without paying attention because I got a gorilla grip, I might get way too heavy of a line and kind of ruin the situation. But, you know, that's what the undo's button's for, man. It makes it really easy to change anything. So that's just a quick, easy way to lay down some shadows on an image. Like, especially with this flat brush. Like, I know, like, the front of this guy's nose is probably like a big flat plane. So if I take this flat brush and I just go right alongside it there, like that, you see, it kind of creates a flat plane on the front of his nose. Kind of having a hard time demonstrating the effect, but you get the idea. See that blue works out really well on the white eyes like I was talking about. Now, say I'm like, hey man, you know, this blue really ain't working on everything, or this purple or whatever I'm using here. I want the actual colors of whatever it is underneath that shadow to stand out. Okay, so I'm just going to do real quick a couple different layers here, different colors. I think I showed this in my other stream too, but I can just go in here after I get all this laid out and change the so this is the one with just the blue. This is all the blue. See, just got the blue on there. Okay. Alright, now I can take that and I can change that layer type to multiply, and you still see a little bit of the blue, but it's more of a multiplication of the color underneath of it. So it uses almost a darker version of the color that it's laid upon. Like, where before, look at the orange in this can. If I put this on normal, where's normal? Okay, you can kind of see the blue. You see the blue on the green as well. Take that and put it on multiply, and then you can see the difference there. Multiply looks more orange. The green on the shirt looks more green rather than being. Look, you can obviously tell with this one. There's the blue over top. Go to multiply. It just looks like a darker version of green. So if you want that style, the easy thing to do there. Use the cool colors, shade it all, and then, you know, go to multiply and see what it looks like. You know, you got to play around with it to see what you like. And then obviously after this step, this is a super simple way to do things. I don't know. I tried to find the quickest way to pump out quality stuff. I still do other things and experiment. There's always, you know, time for that. That's fun stuff. But when you're doing commission work, or you're doing something like I was doing with that app, and I wanted to continually pump out more characters for people to choose from, one after the other. I wanted to give people a wide range right away. Hey, here's some artwork, pick a character. I wanted them to have a lot of options. So I wanted to be able to pump out on average about one a day. And I was able to do that. Every one of those characters in that app you look at, they're basically a day. And I did it by doing this. This is the quick and fast way. The blue shading. Then I could take white and add highlights. And because I'm using that brush tool, if I'm pressing lightly, it's hard to see on there, but it's almost transparent. So you're seeing the color underneath. Even though I'm using white for the highlights, you're still seeing that color underneath there. And so then I can, you know, hit this where the light might be touching it, without sitting there and otherwise, like back in the day when I first started, what I would do is I would select this screen and I would go in and I would go, okay, I need a highlight. So I'm looking at this green, so I'm going to slide my color up here to the white a little bit. Now I got a little bit of a white green. Then I would use whatever tool that I was filling with, and then I would fill that in. And you can do that, but look, you can barely tell the difference between that one I just selected and just using the white tool. That white tool actually looks better to me, because it has a lot of gradation between the highlight and the actual color that's there. So yeah, just a little speed tip. I'm starting to ramble, so I get super tired, guys. All right, guys, I love you guys very much. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for all the support. Thanks to Rob and Cyber Nation Uncensored for the amazing support of my artwork and helping me get out there. Again, I appreciate the opportunity, and I got to go to bed. So you guys take care, and I will see you next time.